You can find out where. I don't say client names. You can get them, and that's no problem. But what was interesting, we discussed what is going to happen, and they say the news are going to be digital. So guys, how do we do it? Well, we will fix it. How? Well, in the production, in our structure. No, we need to make a separate unit to do. No, it's not necessary. What will happen if you don't make a separate unit? It will never happen. And then someone else will start digital newspapers. Happened to a lot of newspapers. And now they're struggling. Too late, they're struggling, and it costs a lot. So this is what I mean by giving special attention. There are 10 points about how do I test whether this design is good or not. The sixth. Does it support critical coordination between units? So if 2 or more units need to be coordinated, so we don't do double up or triple up of functions. Does this structure help me do that? Or is it like it's one of the typical challenges executives have, a matrix organization, where responsibility is fragmented, and because you never took the fight. Because sometimes, guys, to make a new organizational structure is a fight. I believe and this is about collaborative management. But it's not only about decision making, it's also about decision taking. And sometimes when the challenges are really tough, it can be difficult to get on the same page. And then you need to know who has the authority and the power to really call the shots. So this is a very critical test question, the coordination. Will our opportunities and threats be addressed? By the way, opportunities and threats are usually the same thing. So if I have an opportunity, it's also a threat. And if I have a threat, it's an opportunity. But do we avoid them? Or do we really have the structure to capture it, to deal with it, face on, instead of building it up? Our responsibility is clear and not fragmented. What does it mean? Well, it means that my tasks needs to be balanced with responsibilities, that needs to be balanced with authority, so that I have authority, at least if I'm in charge of a unit, that I have authority to perform my responsibility, to do my task. Ah, there it is, by the way. And the last one, are all questions, doubts, and disagreement answered, or handled, rather? Sometimes you cannot even answer them, but are they handled in a constructive way? This has to do with respect. So, what we do when we work with organizational structures and we have a draft for a good structure, we go through the test. We try to answer all these questions. Is it better now than it was before? If it's not, keep what we had before. Don't make a change. That makes the problems bigger. But then, at the end, you have to say, are there still questions? Are there still doubts? Are there still disagreements? What to do about them? Accumulate them and try to answer them together. What we typically do, we work with a group like this. And who is the group? It's the group that represents authority, the formal right to make decision, power, I mean, the people you need to do what you need to do, and influence, the know-how of the organization. So we find the people that can represent the authority, power, and influence, and we go through every question, every doubt, every disagreement, until we cannot answer more. Who answers it? We, together. Not me, not the CEO, we together. So there's one team, and not one side fighting the other side. And sometimes there is disagreements at the end of the day that cannot be solved. Guess what? Is there anyone that can take a decision? So we can move anyway. Should we consider the disagreements as valid, or should we do the change anyway, even if there is a disagreement? It depends how much power it is in this disagreement. Now, I will share with you a few examples. The first one is from is a holding company, and it doesn't matter what kind of holding company this is. It could be any kind of holding company, but it's an energy company, by the way. And the second one is a bottling company. It's a huge bottling company that is covering not only a country but the whole continent, and it's not Europe. And the third one is a property company. The first example is a company that was on the right side of the life cycle. Very, very far down on the right side, I would say. It was really a bureaucracy. It was an energy company, so they were a monopoly. They didn't consider you as a client or a customer, but a subscriber. So they even called, they used to call the customers were called subscribers. What do you do with subscribers? Well, you don't discuss the price, or you don't put the price according to what the market can take. But you set the price according to what I need to balance my budget. And guess what? My budget is going to increase every year. Because if that is what is driving this organization, it's going to increase. Something needs to increase. And the budget will. So you just increase the subscriber. But then, in Europe, some 15 years ago, the energy market was liberalized, so it opened for competition. And now all energy companies became very busy trying to be businesslike, out of fear for being bought by the big companies that had the muscles to eat them. So this is a company that was in this situation, and we worked both with the group, with each single company, and with the holding, the mother or the holding company. And I will just give you an example of the holding structure. And first of all, the mission of a holding company. This could be any kind of business. I believe this is more or less the mission of a holding. What is it? The business of a holding is to give governance and control, and to make sure that I can optimize my profit from my different business units. So even this was unclear for the company, not because people were stupid, to the contrary. I mean, there were great brain power and great executives and people working in this company, but they were busy with their internal fighting and their internal politics. So even though they put nice things on the paper what to do, they were never able to implement. So they will take care of shareholders' value. They will provide governance and financial control, risk management, and this was a company that was producing and distributing energy. That's it. And they realized that if we should stay as an independent alternative, and if we should be able to grow our revenue and our profitability, we need to diversify. We need not only to do what they called upstream production, which is production and distributing energy to the grid, but we need to do also downstream production, which means we need to establish market companies to sell the energy, to operate in the market, what about internet and broadband and networks and things that we also have knowledge to do. So this liberalization of the market, the external threat, gave a lot of energy to change that would be impossible to achieve otherwise. So the structure looks like this, or looked. This is already some years old and there's some changes. But remember what I said. Why was it important to focus first on the holding structure? Yeah, because they needed to maintain control, but they needed first of all to give the business to the business units. And who are the business units? The business units are the green units here. So holding, this is more or less reflecting what they said they wanted to do, managerial, financial control and governance. But the real business happened here. So they made the different departments into a separate incorporated company, production company with its own board of directors, etc., heating, natural gas, etc. So this was the production side, and this is the market-driven side. And then in between they established a shared service, outsourcing to a separate unit to deliver administrative and integrating services between or to all the companies in the group. And of course then charging a market price, but with a discount, because this was internal and they were not competing in any market, but it needed to be reflected that this is not free, as it used to be in this company. It was a monopoly, so if you needed resources, you just took them internally and you used them. Now there was a price tag. The problem with that, of course, is that it increased internal business in the company. But to move them from the right side of the life cycle to the left side of the life cycle, this was the right structure in this situation today. And these were competing now in a market with enough attention, enough focus on what they were going to do, and this holding structure made sure that things were synchronized, that they didn't have double functions or double responsibilities, and it was very, very, very little matrix conflicts in the organization. So this is what I would say a typical structure for a holding or a group of companies coming from the right side to the left side of the life cycle. The next example is a bottling company. And this is, so they made beverages, or make beverages. And they were in the completely opposite situation, competing in a very, very tough market. And even the market conditions are tough. I mean, external legislation is unpredictable. The economy is unpredictable in this market. The social changes are big or severe. And they were on the left side of the life cycle. Really, really a go-go adolescent company that needed control. And because they were on this stage, the producing units were really in charge. And the functions that tried to hold the horses and to control it, they had very little power because they were spread